Hello, my dear students. I'm here to give you an explanation of the soil profile. After the other notes given to you in hard copy, I'm trying to explain and extract what can make it much more simpler for you to understand the soil profile. Later we shall give you a lesson on the soil container. So soil profile, if it is defined, it is the vertical section of the soil from the ground surface up to where the soil meets the underlying rock, or what we normally call the parent rock or the bedrock. Or it is a layer parallel to the soil surface whose physical, chemical, and biological characteristics differ from the layers above and beneath. That means that the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of one layer are not the what? The same. They define color, they may define the size of the particles, they may define the texture and all that, because the processes of operation, of formation are not the same. The layers are differentiated by color and texture. It's what differentiates the layers of a soil profile. Soil profile is composed of three layers: the topsoil, the subsoil, and the bedrock, or what we sometimes call the parent what? The parent rock. However, before we go to the diagram showing us the soil profile, we are going to break down these layers so that we can easily know what is the composition of each layer. For example, we have layer O. It is the upper layer of the topsoil, and it is composed of organic materials and has a dark brown or a black brown color because of the presence of the humus. That's what gives it that color. Then you go to layer A, which is the topsoil. It is rich in organic material and other decomposed materials. And layer O and A are zones of leaching and elevation. Zones where materials will be transported by the process of solution of dissolvable materials into the underlying layers. And that is leaching and elevation. Then we also have layer E, which may not have been mentioned in the previous layers. But this layer E is a transition from A to B, from the topsoil to the subsoil, and it is composed of leached nutrients. It is where the topsoil ends and the subsoil begins. There is a transition point. We call that one layer E. Then we have layer B, which is below the topsoil and above the parent rock. It contains less humus and organic what? Matter. Why? Because there is very little presence of dead plants and dead what? Animals or dead organisms. So you don't find humus there. It is a zone of deposition or elevation, and it has a lighter brown what? Color. Then we have layer C. It is devoid of any organic matter, made up of broken bedrock. This one has no organic matter at all, because you don't have a tree or any plant material or any animal that will be surviving in that great depth. Then you also have what we call layer R. It is compacted and cemented. And this layer R, sometimes people call it the bedrock or the parent rock, but all that is what we mean by the soil profile. When you look at the diagram, you can see it is showing us the vertical sequence of layers of soil, through the soil. It's a vertical sequence of soil layers. Here you can see that we have the O layer, which has got the organic, which is part of the topsoil. It is part of topsoil. So the topsoil comprises of the surface soils plus that organic layer which has a lot of what? Humus. Then after the topsoil, we go to the subsoil on our chart. This subsoil, you can see that even some roots are still protruding to the what? To the subsoil, because it is a zone of deposition, of accumulation of what has been reached from horizon A. So even plants can still get nutrients even at the level of the subsoil. Then we go to horizon C, which we call the parent what? Rock. And we are saying it is partially withered. Part of it might be withered, but part might be completely what? Unwithered. Then below the parent rock, we have what we call the bedrock. So that is what we mean by a soil profile. And the soil profile is very different from what is called a soil catena. They are not the same. Thank you so much.